Welcome to Mindfulness Lists. The next section of Chapter 1, The Flowering of Human Consciousness, is called The Arising New Consciousness. I can feel it. So, in the last section, we talked about the two things that all religions and philosophies and spiritual teachings talk about, which is that people are crazy and that there's a possibility of enlightenment as well. So that's what the rising new consciousness is about. It's about the possibility of transformation. How do we transform? Through awareness. That's how we transform. I know it's a redundant, just cliche saying, but we have to be aware. We have to clearly see our problems. It takes time. A lot of this stuff, it seems so simple. I don't know. I've always wanted more peace. I've always wanted more peace. Maybe, I think it comes from the reason why I wanted more peace is I've always had a feeling of inadequacy, that I'm not good enough. And I have researched, or I guess I've been blessed. My family has helped me and I've been guided in a good direction of looking for peace for the past 30 years, probably. Yeah, I'm almost 49. And when I hit around 19, I was just hurting really bad. So I started reading a lot of stuff, new age stuff at the time. Back in the day, that was, that was 1989 when I started looking around. And at that time, there was no internet. So information, you had to go out and buy books, and it was still out there, but you had to go to like strange bookstores, like almost occult bookstores to find stuff, even like Eckhart Tolle or whatever. There was this bookstore called, and it's still down in Los Angeles, called The Psychic Eye. And I used to go down there and get books and just look for all different types of stuff, whatever it was, sound healing or hypnosis. And I just always felt so drawn towards it, and just gaining little bits of information here and there. It was very slow moving, I've always been a middle class blue collar worker. So, when you're kind of just living paycheck to paycheck, to go out and buy a $20 book or something, it's something. So luckily I'm not a fast reader. And, over the past 30 years, I've read a decent amount of books, not a whole lot of books, but some good, I'd say more quality than quantity. And, back to the point, in order to grow, you have to watch yourself. You have to watch what you're doing wrong, what's keeping you, what's holding you back. And I think at first, when you first start doing this, it's kind of a cerebral thing. You first have to read about these things and understand it, but it's really where the progress is made is in the practice. You need to find what suits you, right? But once you find it, you need to practice, and it's a daily thing. It's a preventive medicine. A lot of things like taking vitamins or doing yoga, you have to do them for months, even years, in order to do it. Like if you mess up your back or something and then you go to a yoga class, it's not going to help you. It'll probably just mess you up more. And that's the same with these things. I don't think they will mess you up, but it's not a get well quick pill that you take. It's not some, Western type of, Western medicine quick fix type thing, Certain problems, you break your arm or something, yeah, have an operation, definitely great. Something like this, it takes time. We've developed habits over, I'd say, I'm not going to say lifetimes, because if you listen to my podcasts, I believe in direct experience. I believe that energy is passed on. I believe that we have kinetic potential energy inside of us. And it would be like, I think that when we die, it's like we're holding a rock in our hand, and that rock gets released and it takes the path of least resistance. When it comes to reincarnation, I don't know about that. People say, well, what about, they've done studies where children can tell that they were warriors in the past. They went to war or something like that, or they have these things that they couldn't have possibly known of. I don't doubt that one single bit, but that's not my experience. So unless it's a direct experience to me, I don't think it pertains to this life. If you're concerned about your before life, your lives before this one, that's fine. And if you're concerned about afterlife, that's fine. But that's not what I'm discussing here. What I'm discussing is finding peace right now in this lifetime, not in the afterlife, and not having to go back when I've read about stuff, you've got karma from your last lives. That just turns me off. That is a total buzzkill. Maybe it's true, but I can't even figure it out in this life. So why do I need to go back to my last life? And if that's the case, maybe I'll figure out how to go back and fix stuff in my last life and my next life. But in this life, I'm worrying about this life. I'm worrying about being happy today and helping the people around me today, right now. I can't change what happened in the past, and I could plant seeds for the future, but working on today seems to be the most realistic thing for me with the tools and with the brain that I have. So, back to the arising new consciousness. So, identify what's messed up. And what's messed up is our egos, and trying to make sense of our lives through following our egos and just getting lost in the river of thoughts and emotions. So something else that Eckhart Tolle talks about in this part, he talks about religions and how in the past they kind of lost their effectiveness probably through people identifying with their beliefs. I'm not going to go into it much because I don't want to fuel the fire. It's clear to see, basically what the ego is about. It's about a lot of different things, but as I mentioned before, it's just identification with form. And also what the ego likes to do is it likes to be right. So people who are lost, they want to be right. Everybody would like to be right, but people in religions, they start to identify with their beliefs. They start to think that they are their beliefs. And so if they have the right thoughts, if they have the right God, then obviously someone else is wrong. And so there's been a lot of wars and a lot of problems have gone down over that. Let's see. So Eckhart Tolle, he talks about spirituality and religion. And he says, that belief systems are what mess up people. And I guess you have to have certain beliefs, but the identity with them, and thinking that if you lose an argument, or if someone else believes something else, that's not okay, that it's affecting you. And if you're that sensitive, if you can't be okay with someone else believing something else, or having a different God, or a different story of how we came to be, then you need to do some work. I'm not even gonna candy coat it. You need to do some work if you're that sensitive about things, because if that's the way it is, then you're just gonna keep on stubbing your toe every time you turn a corner and run into somebody else that believes something else. So maybe the difference between religion and spirituality is spirituality. Eckhart Tolle doesn't say this, but I'm just going to say it. Maybe spirituality, I don't even like the word spirituality. I'd like to use the word consciousness, but let's use spirituality since that's the word that he uses. So, spirit, what would a spirit be? A spirit would be something that would be like a ghost, kind of, or something that was unexplainable, ineffable. And so maybe spirituality is being more in touch with that side of us, that ineffable side, that the consciousness. It's, how do you explain consciousness? How do you explain awareness? It's just like the open sky. You can't explain it, but you know it's there because you're aware of these things going on. You're aware that you're hearing my voice right now. You're aware that maybe your back is a little bit sore. You're aware that maybe, I don't know, you've got something to do after this. So that's probably the difference between religion and spirituality. Spirituality is maybe being more aware of awareness, to whereas religion is a set of beliefs that probably somebody else wrote. You didn't write it. It was written. And I don't want to step on people's toes, but I believe in freedom, so I'm going to say what I think. And I think that religions were written a long time ago, and I think that they're definitely useful, but I'm not sure if, through direct experience, I know that we're all connected. So I imagine that we're all learning through each other, not even through words, but just through observing what's going on. You could observe just what's going on in the world, and people are learning. You have to learn that, being abusive, being physically and being verbally abusive, it's not beneficial, and you don't like it done to you. So obviously we're learning as we grow. And maybe in the past, that's what religion was for, when we were like maybe more monkey or something like that, or like cavemen that didn't understand. Yeah, you can't go around hitting people. You can't go around verbally abusing people. It's 2019. Wake up. We know this. Everybody knows this. A child can know this. Probably the only people that don't know this are very young children. So, I don't know. I just really don't think there's really a use for, I think religion is a dated thing. I don't see the use of it. I see that it divides people and separates people more than unites people. And there are religions that respect other religions, and I shouldn't do that. Like, I should be accepting, just like Buddhists or Hindus. And I've heard that in their temples and stuff, that somebody comes in and they believe in something else. They've got a little Jesus statue. They put the Jesus statue right up on the temple there with Buddha and Shiva and Hanuman and all those other mythological characters. So that's where we're at for this section. The next section is called The Urgency of Transformation, and I'll see you tomorrow. Eventually, time is an angel or devil, best friend or worst enemy, great joy, harsh wrath, burn.